We believe there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and what? We can use it. That is why we are here. Nothing happens by chance. We have a divine appointment, and I say to our viewing audience, if you tuned in at this moment, that we are here by right of consciousness, that we are always attracting exactly what we need in our lives, and we're also repelling. So we know that where thought goes, energy flows, which is a little cliche these days, but it is so true. And as we begin to open ourselves up to the possibility of miracles, and I have, in my laundry room, I have a beautiful little sign, and it says, by Emily Dickinson, I dwell in possibility. When we dwell in possibility, we dwell in the opening of the all that is. We step out on faith, realizing that if we have the faith as a grain of mustard seed, we say to this mountain, this experience, this apparent challenge, this thing that looks like a big problem, we say remove hence. It does, because with God, all things are possible. But with man, it goes on to say, it is impossible, because, you know, the ego gets in there and we think we have to make it happen. We get ourselves out of the way. We allow the divine to flow through us in a way that possibly had never flowed through us ever before. And that is why I love this way of life, that we step out on faith. We step out on the knowingness that we're either going to sprout wings, or the energy of the universe is going to just lift us over this, because we put the works with the faith. We are doing our work. We are going within to the secret place of the Most High. That is within us. It's not outside of us. It is within us. I love this topic. We are all miracle workers, every single one of us. We have Camilla Anthony, who is part of our community. She is our beautiful greeter. And she, on May 1st, we were having a tea party for our own Dr. Arlene, her 80th birthday. She's our director of our Ministry of Prayer. She couldn't be there, she said, because Ed and I are going to the doctor. This is her husband. We're going to the doctor because we go every 3 months. And he had cancer, and he had advanced stages of leukemia. And every 3 months we go, and he has his clearance, and we go out and we celebrate. We celebrate life. We celebrate being cancer-free. We celebrate the miracle and the energy that allows us to move on in our lives and to absolutely embrace in our relationship. Now, Camilla she said, like 12 foster homes by the time she was just 3 years old or 4 years old, because her mother didn't want her. She was an attorney, and she just thought, oh, I don't want a child. She walked out of the Catholic hospital. The nun went running after her and said, well, what do you want to name her? And she goes, I don't know, name her after yourself. And that was Sister Camilla. So our Camilla was named after the nun, but she's our greeter. She's filled with light. To me, that's a miracle. The energy of love. Everyone goes to Camilla for hugs, because her hugs are so healing. Not because she didn't go through anything in her life, because she went through these things, and it deepened the quality of her life. I love that Mike gave me a card this morning, and the card is Kuan Yin, who is my patron saint. Kuan Yin is the goddess of compassion. And energetically, when we open our hearts to compassion, we open our hearts to a greater possibility in life. I dwell in possibility. And I had an experience Friday morning. I was at the computer, and I heard my beautiful Sedona, who's half wolf and half husky, I heard like a primal call. It was just shook the house. And I went running and at the front door, and I took her in my arms, and she let out one final breath, and she passed in my arms. And as I held her in my arms, and my little Shih Tzus came, and I just wept. I think it's so wonderful that we have that facility as the human condition to release emotion, to feel the loss, to feel the grief, that acknowledging that as long as we are here in life, we are going to have every experience there is. And if we don't, we're going to learn from someone else's experience. And so as I held her in my arms and just rocked her and wept and felt the energy of that, I also felt gratitude and joy, because I really felt that she was out of her pain, that she was almost 11 years old, and we had her on medication, and I took her to the veterinarian, and he did the blood work. And my daughter's, one of her degrees is veterinary technology, and she said, I think her time is very near. But we don't ever want to hear that. We're always hopeful for all the beings in our life, that we want them to be with us forever. And then on another level, they are there with us forever. When my husband made his transition, and I was there at the hospital, he said, who are those two beautiful, beautiful women standing next to you? And I looked and I said, there's no one standing next to me. He said, no, they're so beautiful. One has long blonde hair, the other has long brunette hair. I see them clearly. And I got it. I said, oh, these are your guardian angels, and they've come to take you home. And in that recognition, we had this great relationship. We had a great humor in our relationship. I said, you haven't even left yet, and you're going out on me already. Energetically, we're all guided and directed to the Rainbow Bridge when it is our time, and those beings of light and everyone we loved, including all our little four-leggeds, are going to be there to greet us. And then I thought, this Sedona weighs 72 pounds. I don't know exactly what to do. And I said, all right, Father, Mother God, just guide me. What do I do now? You know, I lit candles around her. I put a flower in her ear. I lit incense. We did this little ceremony. And I blessed her. I blessed the years, the almost 11 years that we had together. And then the voice of God said, call Julian. And so I called Julian, who is our in-house, he can do anything. He's a genius. He can build computers. He can, you know, fix your fireplace. He can put in a new garbage disposal. It doesn't matter. He can do anything. So I called, you know, and I was very emotional and just saying that Sedona had passed and that we needed to get her over to the animal hospital. And I certainly couldn't pick her up by myself. And so he said, I'll be right there. No hesitation. It's 7:30 in the morning, no hesitation. He's there in 15 minutes. And he came in, he goes, oh, how beautiful. The candles, the incense, the flower, how beautiful. And we took hands, and I said, you say the prayer. Now, he is my student. I felt too emotional to say the prayer. He gave the most beautiful spiritual treatment of her spirit going energetically and frolicking with all the beauty and energy of the universe, that she was free and she was happy and joyous, and that the time together was so deeply and beautifully meaningful. And he said the prayer, and so it is. And then we lifted her in this woven blanket I had with angels. You know, I had an angel blanket, just happened to have it handy. We wrapped her in it, we carried her to his vehicle, and then went over to the animal hospital. Everyone came out and hugged me. I had called, and they said, you know, you can have her cremated, and she shared everything. So Julian gave a third of what the cremation was, contributed. That was, to me, another miracle. And energetically, everyone that was there was part of this amazing mystical energy field. Everyone had been there. They've all felt the energy of love and loss and grief and joy, because it's all about that. And I thought, isn't it wonderful that I took her to the vet and she felt good? She left really feeling good, and that call to the ancestors of her wolf ancestors, that I'm coming, I'm ready, I'm going to move on over that bridge. And as we acknowledge that life is so fragile on so many levels, and yet the human spirit is absolutely indomitable. My former assistant minister in San Diego used to call me the unsinkable Molly Brown, because nothing and no thing was ever going to deter my vision of what I knew was possible. And I feel that being raised in an alcoholic, dysfunctional home gives us that energy to rise above, to transcend our circumstances, and to know this day in whom we live and move and have our being. That when we put our foot on the path and recognize the miracles that are all around us, the miracles of life, the miracles of the energy that is there for us, the recognition that we're going to go out and we're going to celebrate another day of being cancer-free. Each of us, we have the opportunity to choose this day whom we will serve. And when we begin to serve the energy of spirit, something happens. I love the analogy of the train, where the one man, you know, he's there and he goes, oh yes, there's the train. The next man says, oh yes, here's the train. The next man says, there goes the train, but the fourth man is on the train. And he is going to his destination. He had a ticket and he got on. What I know is that when we get on the train of life, and we are so clear that it's a journey, it's a glorious journey. There's so much in this journey. That the miracle of life is when we get up and we can say, I am the resurrection and the life. I may have, aches, pains, and certain stuff going on with me, but I'm bigger than all of that. And we put our foot down and we realize that the law of gravity is there for us, and we begin our day in such a new way. Rumi, whom I love, one of the Sufi poets, said that there is a field beyond right doing and wrong doing. I'll meet you there. There is a field of possibility. There is a field of energy. There is an opportunity to be more than we ever thought we could be, that we draw the larger circle. And it's interesting when little stuff happens, that's what we give our power away to. And so we got to go within to that place within us and center ourselves and to realize that sometimes the miracle is just waiting in traffic. Sometimes the miracle is just allowing people to be exactly who they are and who they are not. And the recognition that we have to resign being general managers of the universe. I'm sure that Barry can appreciate Julia Childs, which we all used to watch, and she loved her little wine, and she'd drink her wine, and she'd do that souffle, and she'd put it in the oven, and she'd make something else, and then she'd get it out, and the souffle would drop. She'd say, oh, win some, lose some, bon appetit, drink her wine. This is how it is. Sometimes we win some and we lose some. Bon appetit. It's still going to be delicious. Doesn't matter what it looks like, but we have definite pictures of how we think it should look. And when we release those pictures and just allow the universe to come in and do that dance. When I was in New Mexico, I went to El Chamayo. It was I shared about the healing soil. And people would dance in the soil. And they would move and dance, and there was all kinds of wheelchairs and crutches. People go to Lourdes to have their healings and their miracles. And Bernie Siegel, who I have spoken with through the International New Thought Alliance, wrote a book called Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And he was sharing with a colleague that his God was a loving, intelligent presence. And his colleague said, well, I'll give you, intelligence and presence, but how do you know loving? And he said, because when I make an incision, it heals. It heals. There is a loving presence that comes in on a cellular level and heals that incision. An anthropologist discovered when compassion came into being. And all of his students said, well, how did compassion come into being? And he said, by a healed femur. And they said, a healed femur? They said, yes, someone had to stop the journey, attend to the person, wrap their leg so that their femur, the largest bone in the body, would heal. This is when compassion came into being, that we stop and we care, that the miracle of daily living is allowing us to know that sometimes we need to make a call at 7:30 in the morning and that person doesn't even hesitate. They come right over. They assist with whatever is at hand. And the energy that we allow in the knowingness that with each diagnosis, cancer-free, doesn't matter. It can be just, stumbling and hitting our toe, that there's an energy that rushes in on a cellular level that starts the healing process. And when the healing process within us emotionally takes place, we know the miracle is I don't need to react anymore. I don't need to be defensive with that anymore. I don't need to look outside myself anymore for my answers, that there is something within me that is guiding and directing me. I'm on the train. I'm not looking at it coming. I'm not noticing that it's here. I'm not saying goodbye to it. I'm on the train. I'm going somewhere. I am on a journey. And through the miracle of daily living, to recognize that we are each on a journey, that we embrace each other. We celebrate the temporary, don't we? Life is temporary and yet it's eternal. And that we go within, beyond the reach of hands, yet always in the heart. Always in the heart. In the recognition of this. Alice is my fairy godmother. Her brother Bob passed away in June, right before his birthday. And he used to stand up at our talent shows, and he was a big man and looked like Jackie Gleason. Alice is so tiny, but he got those other genes, and he was a big man, and he would do Jackie Gleason. And one of my favorite jokes that he ever said is, he said, you know, my wife ran away with my best friend. He said, you know, we did everything together. We went fishing. We did all of this. And my wife, she was always there. She had the breakfast. She had the meals. Yeah, my wife ran away with my best friend. And I sure do miss him. So energetically, it doesn't always look the way that we think it's going to look. That energetically, that we can laugh at our human foibles. We can laugh at the energies and at ourselves, hopefully, that we begin to unfold in a way where, you know, when my daughter says my mom and her Lucille Ball situations, you know, I know just what she's talking about. But recognizing the opportunity that we have to completely and totally live our lives. We're all miracle workers, every single one of us. Look at the miracle of daily life. Look at the miracle of small, beautiful little intimacies. Look at the miracle of relationship, especially healed relationships. I just love it when there is reconciliation and that you may not still be together, but there's still a relationship that I love this person and this person loved me. It changed form, that's all. And now we're about something different. It's not bad or it's not good. It's something different. And that every time we get up and we pick up our bed and we walk from that bed of infirmity, and to know that God is my source, the source of my health, the source of my relationship, the source of my finances, the source of my energy. God is my source, and there is none else, because we're on that train. We're on that wonderful, beautiful journey called life, and we're going to welcome it all. We're going to welcome the miracle of daily living and the opportunity to know with Einstein that we can live our life as though nothing is a miracle, or we can live our lives as though everything is a miracle. How do we want to live our lives? As though everything is a miracle? Absolutely. That everything is a miracle, that everywhere I turn, as Einstein said, I want to know the thoughts of God, the rest are details. And the details are just there for us to grow and unfold in miraculous ways, and the opportunity to recognize the miracle of life, the miracle of daily living, the miracle of our relationship, and our relationship with everything. God is our source. Do you believe that?
Yes.
God is our source. God is our source. And where are we going? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you.